we got to drive on some really lovely roads outside of Udaipur. Twisty, one-lane roads going up mountains. This place, what was it called? I'll, I'll, I'll put it in the comments. I've forgotten the name right now. But really nice place. I think most of the people ended up shooting over there. Really awesome. And I'm getting the conversation of the range now because I want you to understand what all we did. So the first and foremost, first part of the drive was 30 kilometers just around the hotel with some people from Tata Motors. And
like a feedback session.
Like just to get a download on the car.
Okay.
What's happened, what it's at, and that.
So like a moving briefing, as
Yeah.
it were. Okay.
30 kilometers, came back, and it was, I think, already 8:30 or so by the time then I headed out. It's important, that's why I'm sharing this. 8:30 or so. So I've done 30 kilometers at that point. I come back to the hotel at 1 o'clock. And at that point, I'd completed 200 kilometers. So we clocked a lot of kilometers in those 3.5 hours. Right? In that were those hills, those winding roads, and a lot of up and down. It was just small hills, so you're going up, going down, going up, going down.
Right.
They were broken roads, so a lot of accelerating, stopping, all of that.
So as suboptimal for an EV as it is possible to make it.
Absolutely. And then because I wanted to clock a lot of kilometers, I headed out on the highway. So I went towards Jodhpur, the Jodhpur highway, did that, long run on that one. Getting to that highway included making my way through the city, which was a lot of like industrial bits. So not really slow traffic, but slow-ish. Again, a lot of stop-go, but not slow. In the sense of you're not just crawling, you're going, stopping, okay, now you make way, get going again. So that kind of stuff. So it was not easy driving.
Okay.
So I was keen to run out of battery as far as possible, in the sense that go as low as possible.
So you wanted to throw a curveball at the curve.
Yeah. So it was a curveball because my only goal was how much can I drop the battery down to by the time I get back, and how much range do I get in that? So
Right.
did I drive carefully? Not at all. Did I drive in eco? Barely. I was in normal or I was in sport. And at that point, because we're pretty much going brochure-less, briefing-less into these drives, and it's awesome. So I didn't even know what top speed it had, so I wanted to see that. So at some places where off the highway there were nice sections, I tried that, which means sport mode, full power, trying to find out. And as it turned out, it's about 160 kilometers an hour. So doing all those kind of runs, driving at highway speeds. I again, I like one of the things, the sensations that hit me doing all of this was the big difference between the Nexon, buying a Nexon, and buying this would be, it's not fearless just in terms of the variant. You feel that way when driving it.
Okay.
So you're no longer that range
anxiety thing is a thing of the past.
Like, so I did all of this. I went back, I had about 23% charge remaining, and I had covered 200 kilometers.
Right.
So from the claim of 400 kilometers that you can do to coming to 200 sounds shocking. It's like, whoa, that's crap.
Yeah, but if you go back to driving an EV like an EV is meant to be driven, you have 23% left, means you still have something like 100, 190 kilometers of range left.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you have 100 kilometers
decent,
of range. And I did some math after that, because when we did the Nexon EV with its 40 kilowatt hour battery pack, with that, our range claim, what we saw in our repeated use was about 260 to 280. And we said if you're just in the city, over 300 is possible. Now, if you take the same thing and extrapolate that to a 55 kilowatt hour battery pack, you will land up at the 380 mark easy.
Right.
So doing that in a normal scenario, getting up to 380, 400 is sorted. Like if for me, doing Pune to Mumbai, if I had to do that with the Curvv, the 55, I could be as fearless as I wanted, drive how much I wanted in a day, and not think about charging and make it back home.
Correct. Except that he would charge in the office, because then the office pays that charging bill instead of his house, and because he's Marwadi, he would calculate for that too.
Ayyo, my God, this is getting personal.
I said I will not make fun of Tata Motors. I didn't say anything about you.
Superb. I think go back to making fun of Tata Motors. Okay, so in terms of the range, that is the one clear big benefit that the Curvv offers you, because that style of driving, and I was driving, I kept going towards Jodhpur, just like, and I didn't turn back on the basis of the charge. It was on the basis of the time. I had
Right.
Google Maps on, always locked into the hotel, so I would know that I will get back by 1:15, so I can make it for my flight.
Yeah, so this is a great symbol of how we test EVs today. A lot of us do this. We leave our origin having navigation set for our origin. And you're basically riding or driving up, always monitoring the range left and the distance back to the origin, so that A, you can't run out, because obviously it's really embarrassing to run out in the middle of a test drive because you're like, what were you trying? And second, there's always a flight or something to catch, or a meeting at the end of it or whatever, which you don't want to miss. And you don't want to be stuck in economy mode at the end where performance is being derated, you have to go slower than usual. So all of us run navigation back to our origin when we do this, which is, it's just how it is, yeah.
Yeah, so that is how I drove, and kind to the car in terms of driving, not at all. I think it was fearless driving, and I was so pleased about that.
Okay.
It was the first time that I was in an EV, and I just felt like, yeah, drive, it's okay. You don't have to think about charging, and you
Right.
don't
So
have to think
can we
about
can we
range.
take it as a tenet or a precept that if a car says the numbers that this car is showing, which is what, 500 on
585 was their claim.
nearly 600
Yeah.
in the test conditions, nearly 400 real world, then range anxiety for 99% of prospective buyers is a thing of the past.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
If you really enjoyed this clip, there's not much that you can do because it's over, but this clip is from a much longer video which plays on our main channel, which is called MotorInc. I invite you now to visit there and explore this idea in more detail, and there you'll meet another amazing motoring personality, my great friend Kartikeya, the one and only.